Hi, my name's Matt and I'd like to welcome you to this Zinniac video. This is part of our ITIL Strategist Direct, Plan and Improve course. In this video we will be looking at measurement, cascades and hierarchies. As we know, measurements and metrics must align with the vision and mission. So the vision sets the overall direction of the organisation. It's where we want to get to in the near future. The mission is how we're going to achieve that vision, and everything the organisation does should be contributing to that. So again, going back to lean, is what I'm doing right now something the customer wants that's going to help us achieve that vision, or is it something the organisation needs me to do to lead us to that vision? If not, everything else is waste, get rid of it. So either it's required for the customer or it's required for the organisation, but ultimately both of those things are leading to the vision. So everything we're doing is driving towards that vision and co-creation of value, obviously. Various approaches to organising measurement can be used, and they include a planning and evaluation model, a balanced scorecard, an IT component to scorecard hierarchy, an organisational improvement cascade. And we are going to, over the next few slides in this video, we're going to look at each of those in turn. They all highlight the importance of cascading down from the organisation vision to the measurements. And I think this is something that's useful on an individual basis as well. So I don't know if you do this, but certainly it's something I've done in the past where I set my vision in where do I want to be as an individual in 5 years, 10 years time. And once you've set that vision, then you can work out what you need to do. And you may well have done that, and that might well be why you are taking this course, because you've set a vision that you want a particular role in your organisation, or you want to leave your current organisation and move to a new one, but you need certain qualifications. You want to be an ITIL managing professional, and that will help you achieve your goals. So this is a step along the way. And by cascading down from the vision, it does help us focus on what really matters. So is this going to help me achieve the vision or not? What things are helping to do that, and what's just superfluous? What's just kind of playing around on my phone, not really helping anyone, just wasting time? So obviously phones can be powerful, useful things that help us provide better service to our customers, but also, and I'm not against leisure, 5 minutes entertainment, a break, and so on. That's good, but just having that balance and understanding what really matters. Okay, so the first one, the planning and evaluation model. To make good decisions, you must measure the right things. This can be done by connecting what is measured to the organisation's desired outcomes. So you can see there at the top we've got the purpose, and that could be the purpose of the organisation, the purpose of the service, the purpose of the improvement initiative. That will define the objectives for the thing, for the organisation, etc., which will define the indicators, the key performance indicators, which will show that we're on the way to achieving those objectives, and those key performance indicators will define the metrics as we move down. We're defining, as it says on the left of the slide as you look at it, and then going up, the metrics evaluate the indicators, the key performance indicators evaluate the objectives, and the objectives evaluate the purpose. So it would show us that we have achieved our purpose. And each of those 4 levels, we've got more detail in table 4.3. And you can see there, purpose answers the question, why are we doing this? Objectives answers the questions, what would a successful result look like? What are the characteristics of success? And then indicators, what measurable results would indicate success, how many different indicators are needed for effective evaluation. So we're becoming more specific. And then metrics, what are the numbers, how many per period, how long per issue, what percentage of all items are recorded. So as we drill down, we're becoming more specific. The next model or tool, the balanced scorecard. And the balanced scorecard was originally brought in at organisation level because there was a feeling that organisations, particularly limited companies, were overly focused on short-term shareholder value. Yeah, so it was very short-term. So, and there are several examples of this where a chief exec's come in, they have been highly incentivized on shareholder value, and in the short term, one way to increase your share price is to sell off lots of valuable assets, and that increases the cash in the business and the share price goes up. But it's a very short term business. It's not a sustainable business model, and there are other examples of short termism that aren't sustainable as well. But if you're incented to, maybe just increase the share price over a year, you might choose to do that because you're going to go, well, yeah, I'll do that, and I'll take my £10 million bonus or whatever it is, and then I'll be gone, and I don't really care that what's left. So that idea behind the balanced scorecard was to avoid that. Really, was to have more than just financial measures. So you can see we still have the financial measure. Clearly, it's going to be important, but we also have a customer perspective because customers are clearly very important. If we don't look after our customers, then we don't really have a future. And then the other two are internal, so internal business processes, and that's particularly important for young growing companies. So it's again not uncommon for a new startup company, particularly maybe in California but elsewhere, whatever, tech companies, and they start up and they're populated by young, very motivated, very bright people who are very intense, work long hours, who are very intelligent, very motivated, very skilled, knowledgeable, and the organization grows very quickly without really having too many processes. They just rely on good people doing good things, basically. But they get to a point where they need more people, and they have to bring in more people who are maybe a bit less committed and a bit less able and a bit less skilled and so on. And at that point, if they don't have the processes, it can all kind of fall apart because they start relying on those people and they're not quite as good. So that's where you need to make sure you've got your business processes in place. And again, that's a sustainable thing. And there's obviously lots of examples again where you've got a small startup company that does really, really well, and then it's not the only reason, but then tails off and doesn't kind of go all the way. And then innovation, learning and growth. Yeah, so we can't stand still. The world is moving. I'm looking at an iPhone, an Apple iPhone, I'm using to record this video. Reminds me of Nokia. If you're as old as I am, you'll probably have had a Nokia phone, and at one point, Nokia were the leading mobile phone maker in the world, and Ericsson were number 2, both from Scandinavia. Well, Ericsson got bought by Sony, so it became Sony Ericsson for a while. I think they just market under Sony now, but they're not. Particularly the 2 big players really are Apple, who make the most profit from mobile phones, and Samsung, who sell the most because they've innovated and they've taken over and moved on, and the other organisations weren't able to do that. So again, if we want sustainability over a long period of time, we need to, as an organisation and the individuals within the organisation. So if your organisation has paid for you to take this course, then they're clearly investing in your personal learning and growth. If you've paid yourself, you're obviously investing in yourself, and again, that's a good thing to do. The balanced scorecard relies on metrics, so again, we must develop them for each of the 4 perspectives we've talked about. Limit the number, as we've said before, don't try and measure too many. So if you track too many, there may be little room for improvement. So try and pick a few, maybe 1 or 2 for each perspective. And then if that's successful, you can always add, you can always grow as time goes on and you become more adept. You can always increase the number of metrics, but it's better to start small, as it were, and then add on and grow than it is to start with too many and then start having to drop them because you can't cope. Each perspective and its relevant selected objective will be supported by at least 1 KPI. So you've got to do all 4, or you're not doing a balanced scorecard. To support balanced scorecard, good KPIs will prove whether a strategy is working. We've talked about that. Show the degree of performance change over time. Focus attention on the things that matter for success. Allow the measurement of accomplishments, not effort. That's really important. So it's not about how much effort we made, but outcomes. So it's focusing on outcomes. Provide a common language for communication and reduce uncertainty. The next method or tool, the IT component to scorecard hierarchy. Measurement of IT components performance can be used to calculate service performance. And this is obviously, in the modern world at least, relatively easy. As I said before, lots of IT components come with built-in monitoring software. And it can guide the design of some automation in reporting. It's important that you ensure that the user experience matches the data. And again, this is something you've probably got personal experience of, where maybe you see a report in a newspaper, or within your organisation, you receive some information that says your service is great, and you think, no, it's not. No, it's not. It's rubbish. The train's always late, or the train's, there's always a jam on the motorway, or what, my personal experience is not good for whatever reason. So do measure user experience as well, because the data, particularly in IT, can hide that. It can hide people's actual experience of the service. Statistics that appear to be good do not guarantee that users are deriving the intended value from the service. So again, people might have a particular product or service and be using it and be kind of quite happy that they're using it, but not getting the maximum value. And certainly I've had that situation with maybe friends who are less technically aware than I am, and because I work in IT, have done for many years, and they've got a particular product, and they go, oh yeah, this is quite good, and I go, oh yeah, I've got one of those. Do you use it for doing this? And they go, oh, I didn't know it could. Yeah, oh, it can do that as well. Oh right, I didn't know. I've just been using it for this. So again, they're not getting the full value, and I think again that's quite common in IT. There is a tendency, let's give everybody a laptop, give everybody Office, assume everybody gets value out of it, and not necessarily true. So do try to measure that. Consider what a measurement means for end-to-end value creation for the service consumer. So again, lots of guidance here to focus on value, and not just the performance of the specific component. So again, I think that particular point is something that's very likely to come up in the exam, something that was stressed in the Train the Trainer, that in the past it was very common. It was because it's easy. As I said, IT will measure, this server, what's its availability? Well, it'll tell us 99.99 or whatever it is. Boom. We can put that in an SLA and we can measure it and monitor it and stuff. But what's the end-to-end service like for the user, for the consumer? And as I said before, often that's based on the weakest link. So your email server might be 100% available, and your client device might be 100% available, and But if somewhere the network's down or the security doesn't work, or then it can have a very different experience. One of the things I've noticed over the last few months is there has been many more organizations are using some form of two-phase authentication to log on. So whereas you used to just go username and password and you'd be into your website, into your account, they now want to send you a code to your mobile phone that you then have to type in, after you do username, password, and then they do the code thing, and then you're in. Which is a bit, I only want to look at my bill. I don't, it's, I can't do it. I can't take any money out. Really, do I really need this level of security? Okay, fine. But I was using PayPal this morning, and I went through that, and it was fine. And I did actually make a payment, and then I went to look at something else, and I was still logged in, and I went off to do something, but obviously I went over some sort of time limit, and then the next time I tried to do something, it asked me again, and it was like, oh, you've logged me in, I'm still on the same computer, I haven't lost the connection. Why? So again, that's kind of end-to-end performance for me, my user experience, my perception, but they probably wouldn't pick that up. From their point of view, it'd all be working and their metrics would be fine. They'd be going, it's great, it's all working. So the measure of success is in the performance of the service, and ultimately it is the service consumer who determines whether that's a success or not. The final method or tool, organizational improvement cascade. And you can see there in figure 4.3 the organizational improvement cascade, going from the organization down to business units, down to teams, down to people. And it's showing 4 levels, but in your organization there may be fewer levels. You might be quite a flat organizational hierarchy. So you might just kind of have organization, units, people. Equally, I've worked in organizations, obviously many more than that, where you've kind of got the organization, it's broken down into country, each country's broken down into business units, each business unit's broken down into a domain, each domain's broken down into a line of business, each line of business is broken down into a team, each team, sub-teams, and so on. And obviously matrix organizations as well, but the simple model. And what it clearly is showing is that we have metrics at every level, so we're going to measure at every level, and those metrics can and define the improvement plans at that level, but the metrics at any given level need to support the metrics at the level above, and the metrics at any level need to be supported by the metrics below, if there is a level below, and the same for the improvement plans. So they're cascading down. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please join me again in the next one. Until you see me again, have a great day.